gosh, guys! It's the Diamond Emerald Ender Dragon! Uh-oh. Is that Herobrine? Ah!
These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This first speedrun begins, and hold on a second. Did I just see the message that an admin has joined the game? Okay, first off, not only does this prove that the runner is on a multiplayer server, something that is clearly banned from a solo speedrun, but how did an admin manage to even join his world? Well, I guess the rest of his spawn is pretty normal, as the runner is in survival mode, and we can clearly see that he's facing perfectly straight. But things already start getting crazy when the runner makes his way into this nearby village. Because while the runner is casually gathering some hay, an entire blacksmith spawns out of thin air. Let me replay that. This blacksmith quite literally just appeared out of nowhere. And while I can't confirm it for sure, the only possible explanation is the admin who joined the world earlier must be the one doing this. Well, after gathering a couple of beds, the runner makes his way inside this magical blacksmith. But the chest inside doesn't contain a bunch of overpowered loot like you'd probably expect, which is a surprise considering this chest came from a house that spawned out of thin air. Well, after looting the chest, a message suddenly appears in the chat from the admin, who tells the speedrunner to recheck the very same chest. And of course, when the runner opens the chest for the second time, it now contains every single item you'd ever need to enter the nether. And I'll replay the clip. You can clearly see there wasn't a single cut anywhere, meaning this admin must have some pretty good admin powers. Well, after looting the chest, you'd probably expect the runner to use the obsidian he just got to quickly build another portal and make his way into the nether. But the admin quickly types in chat, telling the runner to instead search for a ruined portal. Very interesting. Well, the runner decides to take the admin's advice and begins his search for a ruined portal. And I guess if I have to give him credit, the ruined portal he does locate doesn't seem to be fake at all. But when the runner opens the ruined portal chest, oh my gosh. I've reviewed hundreds of speedruns, and let me tell you, this might be the craziest one that I've ever seen. And not only is this weapon so absurd that it doesn't even fully fit on the screen, I think it's obvious this is one of the admin's overpowered weapons. And I guess the runner couldn't resist trying it out because he starts to destroy every single being in sight. That was insane. So, with one of the world's most menacing weapons, the runner quickly finishes building the portal, lights it, and heads into the nether. And when the runner spawns in, I do have to admit that things look pretty standard, as the runner is still in survival mode, and he spawned in facing the exact same direction as he did in the overworld. But as the runner starts searching throughout the nether for a bastion, something suddenly drops out of the sky, and it appears to be some sort of rainbow ender pearl. This wasn't part of the new update, was it? Well, immediately after the runner grabs this ender pearl, the admin types in chat, explaining that this pearl is actually magical and will teleport the runner to wherever he types. And being that the runner was in the middle of looking for a bastion, he quickly types bastion in the chat. Alright, I know this admin has some crazy powers, but it's simply impossible for this pearl to teleport him into a bastion. Oh my gosh. This rainbow pearl somehow drops the runner straight into a bastion, despite the fact that we clearly didn't see a single bastion anywhere in this area. And I'm not going to lie, this admin might be more overpowered than Notch himself. So, the runner somehow teleports into the bastion, where he does the usual, collect gold blocks, turn them into ingots, and start trading with piglins. And while things look to be normal during the runner's first few trades, I think you know that this admin is about to do something crazy, because suddenly, the runner sees a golden piglin. And while it's obvious this was spawned in by the admin, how did he even manage to get a gold piglin into Minecraft? But it doesn't stop there, because this gold piglin doesn't just give you ordinary traits, because this runner literally collects 64 ender pearls, 32 blocks of obsidian, and 8 potions of fire resistance. This admin just created the world's most overpowered piglin. So, with way more loot than the runner would ever need, he quickly begins to search for a nearby fortress, and he actually manages to locate one pretty quickly without an ounce of suspicious activity. The only problem is, this fortress is located located on the opposite side of a huge lava pool. And the runner not only doesn't have enough blocks, but I guess he is too scared to throw an ender pearl, scared he will miss his throw and die in the speedrun. Well, that's when the runner places down his crafting table, where he crafts a bridge gun? Is this a real Minecraft item? Well, the runner grabs the bridge gun, and after aiming it directly at the fortress, he magically summons a bridge out of thin air, giving him a direct path straight to the fortress. And because I'm pretty sure this item was not a part of the new update, the admin must have created this item himself. So, after summoning his very own bridge, the runner quickly makes his way into the fortress, where, after collecting some loot from a fortress chest, he drinks one of the 8 fire resistance potions he got from the gold piglin, and quickly locates a blaze spawner room. But watch closely to what happens when the runner kills this specific blaze, because somehow this blaze actually drops 2 blaze rods. And this is already very suspicious, as the max amount of rods a blaze can normally drop is only 1. Well, let's rewind the footage to just a few seconds ago to see what is really happening. Because if you look closely at the right corner of the screen, you can actually see an enchantment book floating in mid-air. And just a few frames later, you can now see an iron axe floating in the exact same spot. Now, not only are these items clearly being held by the admin while using an invisibility potion, but I'm almost certain that these 2 items are how the runner got extra blaze rods. Because in Minecraft, the only way to get more than 1 blaze rod per drop is if you have the looting enchantment on a weapon. And just a couple of seconds after the runner saw these floating items, he suddenly has an enchanted iron axe in his inventory. The exact same axe he used to kill the blaze who gave him 2 blaze rods. So this is what happened. This book the admin was holding was clearly a looting enchantment, which he applied to the iron axe he was also holding. And using some sort of admin commands, he transferred that item straight to the runner's inventory, which he then used to get 2 blaze rods from this blaze. And just to confirm this, 30 seconds later when the runner opens his inventory, he accidentally reveals that this axe does in fact have a looting enchantment. And even though I caught them cheating, they almost got away with it. Well, with an iron axe that gives insanely lucky blaze rod drops, the runner manages to collect the 7 rods that he needs extremely quickly, where a normal speedrunner would then build another portal and head back towards the overworld. But I think the admin has something else in mind, because he quickly types in chat, giving the runner 3 coordinates for a quote-unquote surprise. And the runner of course agrees and follows the coordinates. And honestly, I don't think you're ready for this, because when the runner reaches these very coordinates, oh my gosh, this is the craziest looking nether portal that I've literally ever seen. Is this a portal made out of a sword? This is actually insane. And not to mention, there's of course a sign with the admin portal label. Alright, this admin might be the coolest Minecraft player ever. Well, the runner makes his way towards the portal, enters it, and spawns back into the overworld, where he immediately decides to craft his Eyes of Ender. And this leads me to believe he's going to start throwing them in the air and use a very popular technique known as triangulation to locate the strongholds. But that guess couldn't be further from the truth, because all of a sudden, the runner sees a Colosseum? Okay, I'm 99.9% sure a Colosseum is not a naturally generating Minecraft structure. Well, of course, the speedrunner is clearly curious, so he makes his way towards the Colosseum and enters inside, where he comes face to face with the admin, who is wearing full netherite armor and holding an enchanted sword. And right after he notices the admin, he looks in the chat where the admin explains that for him to continue the run, he must defeat him. Things just got serious. Well, despite the admin having full netherite armor and an enchanted sword, he's made one big mistake. Because do you remember when earlier in the speedrun, the admin actually gave the runner Minecraft's most overpowered weapon? Well, the runner decides to pull it out, and despite the admin having full netherite armor, he gets destroyed in just a few hits. And I can't believe it, but this speedrunner just beat one of the craziest Minecraft players that I've ever seen. Well, after destroying the admin, the runner of course has to steal some of his loot. And apart from the netherite armor and the sword, the runner actually finds one more item that's more overpowered overpowered than all, which is this singular command block, which is an item that can only be obtained with cheats. Well, the runner grabs the command block where he starts typing in a very specific command. And after placing a button on it, the runner is teleported directly into the end dimension. That was a lot to process. So, the runner spawns into the end, and things do actually seem fairly normal, as the runner is still in survival mode, and apart from the overpowered admin weapon, everything else in his inventory is pretty normal. And things only get more legit, as the runner starts breaking some crystals without any suspicious activity. But as the runner is casually running throughout the end, the admin appears out of nowhere, and literally kills the runner in 2 hits. And sadly, when the runner tries to rejoin the world, he has unfortunately been banned from the server. So I guess the speedrun just ends there. This next speedrun begins, and unfortunately, there's already something fake about it. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with his inventory, as we can clearly see he's in survival. And it's not even his world generation, as we can also see the runner is facing straight. But wait a second, are we sure it's not his world generation? Because when the runner opens his F3 menu, I want you to tell me if you notice what's fake about it. Well, if you look into the left side of this menu, we can clearly see the runner is facing the direction of east. The problem is, in a real Minecraft speedrun, you will always spawn in facing south. And this actually proves there was a cut in the runner's recording, and this world generation is completely fake, which likely means the runner is playing on a set seed. Either way, besides the very suspicious spawn, everything else does seem pretty normal, as the runner crafts a few stone tools and collects some food for later in the run. But things get even more suspicious when the runner enters this nearby village, because this village somehow contains not 1, not 2, but 3 blacksmiths. Now, this technically isn't impossible, as the odds of finding 3 blacksmiths in one single Plains village is between 5 and 10%. However, there is one very obvious detail which actually proves that it's fake. Because if you look closely at blacksmiths number 2 and 3, do you notice it? Instead of being built out of cobblestone like in a real blacksmith, they are instead built with smooth stone. And this pretty clearly reveals that these blacksmiths did not spawn naturally, but instead were built by the runner off camera. And the runner accidentally used smooth stone instead of cobblestone, revealing he cheated. Either way, the runner makes his way into each one of the blacksmiths, where the loot in each chest is actually 100% legit. And after collecting some beds and gathering some hay, the runner begins his search for a ruined portal. But on his way, the runner comes across, what? Is that an emerald desert pyramid? I'm pretty sure this wasn't part of the new update. Well, the runner enters inside the emerald pyramid, but things only get crazier. Because instead of finding 4 chests like in a real desert pyramid, the runner instead drops down into a fully built ruined portal. And while this is clearly fake, I have no idea how this is even possible. Well, the runner drops down, and despite this pyramid being insanely overpowered, there is one massive problem. Because when the runner goes to check his inventory, he realizes that he doesn't have a single flint and steel, meaning he actually has no way of lighting the portal. Well, that's until the runner decides to loot this ruined portal chest, where inside he finds a nether portal block, which he grabs and starts placing in the portal himself. And just to be clear, it is quite literally impossible to obtain a nether portal block in Minecraft, so I have no idea how he just found some in a ruined portal chest. This speedrun is just straight cursed. So, after manually filling in the ruined portal himself, the runner quickly makes his way into the nether. Now, if you weren't paying extremely close attention, this spawn may seem completely legit, as the runner is still in survival mode, and he hasn't gained any weird potion effects in the top right corner. But I'm going to replay his spawn, and I want you to see if you can catch what is fake this time. Did you see that? We can clearly see the runner's FOV completely change right after he spawns into the nether. And because it's actually impossible to adjust your FOV while spawning into a new dimension, the only explanation is that the runner made a cut in his recording. So when the runner finds a nether fortress just 7 seconds after he spawns in, it's pretty obvious that the speedrunner cut his recording, built an entirely new nether portal, and pretended to spawn there the entire time. So the runner enters the fortress, and after looting a chest and fixing his FOV, he starts looking for a blaze spawner room to fight blazes and collect blaze rods. But hold on a second. Since when did the runner collect a fire resistance potion? Just 5 seconds ago when he opened his inventory, we clearly saw he didn't have a single one anywhere. Well, let's replay this part of the footage and let me know if you can catch what's fake about it. Did you see it? If you pay close attention to the stone pickaxe in the runner's first inventory slot, you can see that it suddenly switches places with this apple and goes to the 8th slot. And just a couple of seconds later, when the runner now opens his inventory, he suddenly has a potion of fire resistance. So if you couldn't tell, this pickaxe magically moving places proves the runner made a cut in his recording where he went off camera, got the fire resistance potion, and tried to pretend like nothing ever happened. So, with a fire resistance potion in effect, the runner can pretty easily kill blazes without worrying about taking damage. But that's until... what? This might be the scariest looking blaze that I've ever seen. Why is it literally massive? So of course, when the runner tries to kill this blaze, he gets absolutely destroyed. And after getting him buried alive, the runner of course comes up with the world's funniest excuse, claiming that the reason he died was actually because his mouse glitched. And after that terrible excuse, with quite possibly the world's most obvious cut, the runner is suddenly back in the nether with all of the items in his inventory. This is just hilarious. So, the runner quickly locates a new fortress without any giant blazes, where he actually collects 7 blaze rods without any suspicious activity, where he immediately starts searching for a bastion, just like a normal Minecraft speedrunner would. And to his credit, he actually locates one pretty quickly, but there's one big problem, because this bastion is located on the opposite side of a huge lava pool, and without enough blocks in his inventory to build to it, how is the runner supposed to enter the bastion? Well, that's when the runner turns around and finds a random lever on the floor, which of course, after clicking it, reveals a chest in the ground. Now I know you're probably expecting this chest to have a bunch of overpowered items like we've seen in other speedruns, but the runner actually just finds 16 snowballs in this chest. Very weird. Well, the runner grabs the snowballs, where he decides to throw one at the bastion. Alright, what's the point? How is that gonna help in the speedrun? What? The snowball literally teleports the runner where he block clutches right into the bastion. I am so shocked right now, I can't even comprehend how that's possible. So, the runner somehow teleports to the bastion, where things thankfully cool off and become a little more normal, because he mines gold blocks, crafts some ingots, and starts to trade with piglins completely normally for a change. But do you remember when the runner found a giant blaze in the fortress? Well, he's now face to face with a giant piglin. And to nobody's surprise, with this piglin being incredibly giant, he of course gives the runner all the items that he needs. Something must be glitched in this world's game files. So, after collecting all the items he needs from a bunch of normal piglins and one giant piglin, the runner quickly builds another portal and spawns back into the overworld. Now, in a real Minecraft speedrun, the runner would immediately craft Eyes of Ender and start throwing them in the air, using a popular process of triangulation to locate the strongholds. But this speedrunner seems to have a slightly different idea up their sleeve, because they start typing in chat, explaining that the batteries in their controller died and they need to turn off their recording to go and change them. But hold on a second, this might be the funniest excuse I've ever heard, because throughout the run, we can clearly see he's been using mouse and keyboard, meaning this excuse to change his batteries was just a way for the runner to turn off his recording. And if it couldn't get any funnier, we can actually hear the runner typing on his keyboard while he's supposed to be finding batteries. I think it's pretty obvious the runner is trying to find a way to cheat off camera. Well, when the runner finally returns, he of course now suddenly knows the exact coordinates of the stronghold and drops directly into it just 30 seconds later. So here is what I think happened. While we heard the runner typing while he was supposed to be getting new batteries, he was actually searching up a stronghold finder website where he typed in the seed of his Minecraft world and found the exact coordinates of the stronghold. And now it's pretty obvious why the runner had to turn off his recording, because he was obviously trying to hide the fact he was cheating. So, the runner digs down, enters the strongholds, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but everything is normal. The runner loots a few chests, and finds the end portal room without a bit of suspicious activity. But oh gosh, things were going so well. Why does this have to be the goofiest looking end portal ever made? Alright, I'm dying laughing, but there's no way this actually lights. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. I don't have an explanation for how this is possible. So, the runner spawns into the end, and things are back to normal for a change, with the runner spawning on an obsidian platform and the ender dragon thankfully having full health. But oh my gosh, why in the world are there pillars made out of chests? And not only that, but the runner finds a random book laying on the ground, which explains that he will find the world's most overpowered weapons in one single chest. Is this guy about to go on a scavenger hunt in the end? Well, the runner closes the book, where he immediately starts looking through every single chest trying to find the overpowered item. At this point, it would probably be faster to just kill the dragon normally. Well, after literally 15 minutes of searching chests, the runner prepares to open this very chest. And inside, he does find an item, but it's not an enchanted netherite sword or even a power 5 bow like you might think, but instead a single wooden axe. And after literally wasting 15 minutes just to find an incredibly useless item, the runner doesn't even attempt to fight the dragon, but instead just jumps off the edge in rage. This next speedrun begins, and right off the bat, there's already something completely fake about it. And no, it actually doesn't have anything to do with the runner's loading screen, as we can clearly see he has it set to survival mode. And it isn't even the direction he's facing either, as the runner is perfectly straight and parallel with the surrounding blocks. But hold on a second, we missed something huge, because I'm going to play this clip of his world generation, and I want you to figure out what's fake about it. Did you catch that? Well, to help you out, I'm gonna slow down the footage and see if you can spot it this time. Well, as you can clearly see, the runner initially spawns in wearing a skin that is green, but literally just one frame later, his skin magically changes to orange. And this actually confirms that the speedrunner has made a cut in his recording, which is incredibly suspicious, and remember it for later. So, the speedrun begins, and everything seems pretty ordinary, as the runner collects some wood and crafts some tools, all the normal stuff. But let's see what happens when the runner locates a nearby village. What? Wait, okay, hold on a second. Why in the world is there a giant Mario statue in the middle of this village? Please don't tell me that's the reason why he cut his footage in the beginning of the run. Now, while this is definitely random and extremely hilarious, it's actually a huge distraction for the speedrunner to cheat. Because while it appears as though the runner is simply moving towards the structure to see inside it, take a very close look at this block, where you can actually see a grass pressure plate hidden in the floor. And first off, a grass pressure plate isn't even a real type of pressure plate, so I have no idea how the runner managed to find one. But secondly, as soon as the runner steps over this pressure plate, you can see a command in the chat which gives the runner a bunch of iron and a flint and steel, both crucial items for entering the nether. So I think it's pretty obvious this giant Mario statue was actually one big distraction for the runner to step over this pressure plate and get extra items. But what's even funnier is that when the runner notices these items in his inventory, he makes up one of the world's dumbest excuses.
By the way guys, if you see some extra items in my inventory, my game's just really laggy, so it gives me random items sometimes.
This guy isn't fooling anyone. So, after getting a bunch of extra iron and a flint and steel, the runner collects some beds, gathers some hay, and starts searching for a ruined portal. And to the runner's credit, it appears as though the ruined portal he finds is actually completely normal. But wait a second, because this speedrunner has cheated once again. Because I'm gonna replay this part of the footage, and you tell me what's fake about it. That's right, this speedrunner's skin has once again completely changed, meaning he made another cut in his recording. And I think it's pretty obvious that while the runner was off camera, he simply used a /locate command to find this ruined portal, meaning this part of the footage is completely fake. But my question is, why does this guy have so many different skins? So, the runner locates the ruined portal, where he starts off by going to loot the ruined portal chest. And I know you're expecting the loot in this chest to be completely fake, but that actually isn't the case, as all of the items he finds are actually completely normal. What the heck? The runner finds a jack-o'-lantern catapult? Okay, this isn't a real Minecraft item, is it? Well, of course, the runner wants to test out this item, and oh my gosh, this weapon is absolutely insane. Anyway, after messing around with this crazy weapon, the runner decides to focus by completing the nether portal and making his way into the nether. Now, a normal speedrunner would then make the choice of looking for a fortress or even looking for a bastion, both structures that are crucial in continuing the speedrun. But this guy doesn't even have to decide on which one he goes to first, because he literally finds a bastion that spawns inside the middle of a fortress. What? Now, it is technically possible for a bastion and fortress to spawn close to each other if they generate close to the separation border. But a bastion literally being inside a fortress is something that I think is simply impossible. And how the runner managed to pull this off, I unfortunately have zero idea. Well, the runner makes his way towards this insane generation, where he decides he first wants to enter the bastion. But right away, this speedrunner is up to some very suspicious activity, because after he throws only 4 single pieces of gold, he somehow collects 16 ender pearls. Now, I guess you could argue this is possible, as each gold ingot you throw has the potential to collect 4 pearls, and because the runner threw 4 pieces of gold, it is possible to collect 16 of them. But the odds of this happening are so incredibly low that after I asked ChatGPT, has less than a 0.0000006% chance of happening. Now, I was about to let this slide and just assume this runner was the luckiest man in our galaxy until just a couple of seconds later, where he actually reveals the way that he cheated. Because if you look into the top left corner of the screen at this very frame, you can see that the runner is playing Minecraft with Forge installed, which, if you weren't already aware, is a very popular mod loader for Minecraft. So it's very likely that the reason the runner was able to get incredibly lucky trades from these piglins is because he's actually using a Minecraft mod which changes their drop rates. And because playing with mods that alter the game are clearly banned, this part of the speedrun is incredibly fake. Well, after collecting 16 pearls, a normal runner would then start searching for a fortress. But if you already forgot, this speedrunner found a world where the fortress is literally inside the bastion, so he doesn't have to waste any time searching for one and is already in the fortress. But as soon as the runner starts running around it, there's already something incredibly suspicious, because I want you to take a closer look at the loot in this fortress chest. Now, all of the items in this chest may look fairly normal at a first glance, but take a closer look at this redstone torch. And while it may seem very unimportant, it's actually impossible for this to spawn naturally in a fortress chest. So while this isn't necessarily suspicious now, remember this very redstone torch for later in the run. Well, after the runner loots one more chest and quickly drinks a potion of fire resistance, he starts his search for a blaze spawner room. But that's until... what? The runner finds 5 blaze spawners literally lined up in a row. And while there is technically no limit to the amount of spawners that can generate in a fortress, there is absolutely no way that 5 blaze spawners spawned perfectly in a straight line. So the only explanation is that the runner built this himself off camera. Well, with 5 different blaze spawners, there is a ton of blazes that the speedrunner is ready to kill. And in only about 45 seconds, he's actually able to collect 7 rods, the exact amount a runner would need to continue the speedrun. But here's the problem. When the runner opens his inventory, he realizes that he forgot to collect obsidian in the bastion, meaning he now has no way to travel back to the overworld and continue with the speedrun. Well, this speedrunner doesn't seem to be too worried about it, because as he is casually running throughout the nether, he finds a very strange sign on the wall, which literally only has one single word: magma. Well, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but the runner seems to know what it is and starts running in a very specific direction until they come across this very specific wall, which by the looks of it has a magma block that is very out of place. Now, while this block is very suspicious, how could it possibly help with the speedrun? Well, do you remember back earlier in the run when the speedrunner found a redstone torch in the fortress chest? Well, the runner grabs the torch, and when he goes to place it on this magma block, oh my gosh! A secret door opens up, which reveals a room with a fully built nether portal. And while this is very obviously fake, credit to the runner for however they pulled this off. So, the runner lights the secret room ruins portal, where he finally spawns back into the overworld, where he quickly crafts Eyes of Ender, and you're probably expecting him to use triangulation to locate the strongholds. But instead of throwing his Eyes of Ender right away, he instead decides to place down a crafting table, where he inserts an Eye of Ender and an Ender Pearl into the table, which creates the Stronghold Eye? Was this a part of the new update? Well, after somehow crafting this crazy looking Eye of Ender, when the runner decides to throw it, oh my gosh, he is teleported directly into the strongholds. And while I don't know if this stronghold eye is a real item, it's for sure insanely overpowered. Well, after somehow teleporting into the strongholds, the speedrunner wastes no time searching for the end portal room. But somehow, this stronghold doesn't have 1, not 2, but 3 end portal rooms. Is that even possible? The max amount of end portal rooms that could spawn in a stronghold is only 1. I'm so confused. Well, the runner decides to use the end portal with the most eyes already in place, which of course means he now has the perfect amount he needs to light the portal, where he places his eyes, lights it, and finally jumps into the end, where to my surprise, I guess things seem fairly standard, with the runner still being in survival mode, and he spawns in without any crazy items in his inventory. But unfortunately, those two things are the last normal parts of the speedrun, because he starts explaining in chat that he has somehow acquired god strength, and that killing the ender dragon will be super easy. What god strength is this guy yapping about? Well, I guess the runner wants to show off this strength, so he pulls out his fist and makes his way towards the dragon. Alright, this fist is going to do no damage. What? This speedrunner just took half of the dragon's health with one single swing. And just one punch later, the runner actually manages to kill the ender dragon. And honestly, this speedrunner must actually have god strength, because I have no idea how he just pulled that off. Click on screen now to watch even funnier fake Minecraft speedruns.